Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a deep dive about Barış and Gups. All the details are in my video. If you enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can support me even more by clicking the join button below. Thank you, and let's get straight into it. For years, the story of Barış Ardu and Gups has been told in headlines, half-whispers, and carefully cropped photos. Two of the most recognizable figures in Turkish entertainment, one a magnetic leading man, the other a brilliant writer-actress with a sharp comedic eye, built a relationship that thrived far from the loudest rooms. They worked, they lived, they kept the center of their lives private. And then, as if out of nowhere, came the quiet wedding that rewrote the narrative. No massive press conference, no choreographed publicity storm, just a discreet ceremony and an afterwards filled with small, sincere clues, not press releases, but life happening. In the months since, the internet has tried to define exactly what changed for them. Fans noticed a different rhythm in Barış's interviews, lighter at times, more reflective at others. Friends who had always described Gups as fiercely independent started using new words, anchored, settled, luminous. The couple appeared together when it mattered and disappeared when it didn't. It looked, from the outside, like a pair that had made a pact, tell the world only what the world needs to hear. That's why a recent sit-down with Barış resonated so strongly. In a calm, unhurried conversation, he let down the usual guard just enough to reveal a thought that surprised even his oldest followers. Speaking about timing, choices, and the way careers can swallow the calendar, he admitted that he sometimes wishes they had married earlier. Not because earlier would have been easier, but because every chapter since has shown him how naturally their lives fit. I'm very happy to be with Gups and to be married to her, he reflected, and there are days when I think we could have taken this step sooner. That single line ricocheted across social platforms. Some heard regret, others heard a love letter to patience. But the fuller picture, when you sit with his words, isn't regret at all, it's perspective. It's the difference between rushing to live a story for the public and choosing to build one privately, then sharing only what feels right. He didn't frame marriage as a finish line or a prize. He framed it as a practice, responsibilities accepted, compromises learned, laughter protected, work guarded. He acknowledged that marriage changes the flow of everyday life, the decisions, the schedule, the sense that you answer to more than your own impulses, and he didn't romanticize that reality. He simply said it would have been nice to learn those rhythms together even earlier. To understand why that admission landed with such force, you have to rewind to their origin story. Their paths crossed in an industry that rewards visibility, where it's easy to confuse noise with success. From the beginning, though, they defied that rule. They showed up for each other without turning their relationship into a brand. When the world expected big gestures, they opted for small habits, meals with close friends, film sets where the conversation stayed about craft, weekends that didn't melt into content. That choice didn't make them dull. It made them durable. So what actually changes after a quiet wedding followed by a public confession about timing? Here are a few answers that emerge from people who've worked with them and paid attention. First, the work gets sharper. The paradox of a stable private life is that it frees you to take bigger creative risks. Directors who've collaborated with Barış say he's more precise now, more comfortable holding silence in a scene and letting a moment breathe. Writers who admire Gups note the same in her recent projects, jokes that land without underlining, scenes that trust the audience's intelligence, characters who feel honest rather than heroic. When you're not performing your off-screen life, you can pour more of yourself into on-screen truth. Second, the rules get clearer. In the early years of any relationship, boundaries are often negotiated in real time, sometimes publicly, sometimes messily. Marriage, especially one they chose on their own terms, codifies the unspoken pact. They've drawn lines and stuck to them, joint appearances when they have something to say, vanishing acts when the moment is theirs alone. That clarity reduces noise. It also amplifies whatever they do decide to show. Third, the support becomes structural. Love isn't only a feeling, it's logistics. Who handles travel, who reads a draft, who says no to the wrong project, who says yes to a risk because the foundation can hold it. Close friends describe them as each other's first audience and final edit. When a script arrives, it gets two brains. When a schedule looks impossible, it becomes a puzzle for two. That partnership is practical, not just poetic. Of course, fans have questions. Why now? Why the sudden openness about wishing they'd married sooner? The simplest answer might be the truest: time has a way of clarifying what matters. At a certain point, milestones organize themselves. Whether you're an actor, a writer, or someone who works far from cameras, you look back and see the pattern of your choices. You realize which ones made you braver, which ones brought you peace. Saying, "I wish we had done this earlier," isn't an indictment of the past, it's gratitude for the present. There's also a more strategic layer that deserves credit. When celebrities talk candidly about timing, they reclaim the narrative from gossip. Rather than letting strangers define their relationship in fragments, Barış offered a whole sentence, honest and measured. The effect? The public conversation shifted from speculation about problems to reflections on growth. It's a deft move, one that respects fans' curiosity while refusing to feed the rumor machine. What does all this mean for what we'll see next? Expect fewer performative couple moments and more evidence of how their partnership shapes their choices. If a role requires long nights and emotional excavation, the decision will weigh not only artistic value but also the cost to the shared calendar. If a script has a voice that resonates with the stories Gupse wants to tell, stories that respect complexity, that find humor without cruelty, she'll run toward it. If a project tries to use their marriage as marketing, they'll likely pass. The brand isn't Barış and Gups. The brand is good work, good life. The fan response to this new chapter has been instructive. Many felt seen by the idea that love can be both private and proud, no apology for keeping some doors closed, no shame in opening others. Comments flooded timelines, people who waited to marry until the timing matched the feeling, people who married quickly and learned the rhythm together, people who didn't marry at all and still built extraordinary partnerships. That's the quiet power of a single honest sentence from a public figure. It turns the spotlight away from image and onto experience. There will always be a contrarian crowd insisting that every confession hides a strategy. But sometimes the simplest explanation is the right one. You can sense it in the way their closest circles speak, not in superlatives, but in daily details. A shared breakfast before an early call, a standing rule about devices at dinner, a note left on a script page that says this line can be braver. None of that is headline material. All of it is relationship material. If you're looking for a moral, maybe it's this: timing is not a villain, it's a teacher. You learn what it means to protect something before you announce it. You learn what home feels like so you can carry it into every room you enter. And when the time comes to speak about what you've built, you can do it without spectacle, just a clear voice and a steady gaze. "I wish we had married sooner" becomes another way of saying, "I love the life we're living now." Before we wrap, here's what I'll be watching for in the months ahead. Will interviews keep this new tone, thoughtful, warm, unhurried? Will their projects reflect the same values their relationship displays: intelligence, kindness, craft over clout? And will they continue to model a version of celebrity that leaves the most precious parts of life unmonetized? If the answer to those questions is yes, then this confession wasn't just a headline, it was a mission statement. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed this story and the way we unpack the human side of public lives, please like the video, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what's next. I'll be following Barış and Gups' journey with the same curiosity you have, celebrating the work, respecting the boundaries, and listening closely when the rare honest sentence appears. See you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.